So here's an update on the greenhouse and how things are growing in here. It's actually really crazy. This whole place got overtaken with cucumbers. I've already pulled 2.5 5-gallon pails out of this guy, and I only planted 6 plants, and it just took over the whole garden. As you can see, everything's fighting for space in here. Everything's growing really well. My problem that I have, and it's a horrible problem to have, is all my peppers look big and beautiful and healthy, but it was such a late year this year. Everything didn't get enough heat in the earlier part of the year that I'm really worried that I'm not going to have peppers and ripe peppers by the time it comes to harvest. Hopefully I'm wrong. Got lots of cucumbers still coming all over the place. The size of these fellers. Well, at least I have ripe cayenne so far. So my beets are absolutely huge in here. I didn't thin them out, so I'm kind of curious as to how big the beets are actually going to be. They got about another month to grow yet before I'm going to try pulling them out. I'm going to put the excavator to good use. Dill looks really good. I've been making ghost pepper dill pickles and plucking fresh dill out here every day when I need it. Hopefully I'll never have to plant this stuff again. Like I was saying earlier, the plants look really good, and they're huge. The problem is that they're just so late. There's buds on them all over the place, and there's flowers on them all over the place, but no peppers yet. Starting to get worried. So here's one of my Carolina Reapers. The plant looks overall pretty good. Looks a little less full on this side. You can tell what part of the wall it's been sitting up against. But there's flowers, there's buds all over it. Plant looks really good overall. And as you can see, there's peppers coming. More peppers. Not too worried because he'll come inside for the winter. Luckily I do have three grow tents, so I can finish these guys off and make sure I at least get a harvest off them. Plus the ones I'll be overwintering. So here's my overwintered Chichen Itza. This thing's got peppers all over it. This will probably be my last harvest off them. It's a nice looking plant and such, but I'm not going to keep them again overwintered. I want to try some different kind of varieties. It's a nice tasting pepper, but I don't know, it's just kind of boring. Here's my Trinidad Scorpion Moruga. Plant was really late this year. Don't know why it grew so slowly. As you can see though, it is just starting to get some buds. So I'll keep them alive long enough at least to hopefully get one harvest off them. Here's my 7-pot Burgundy. I think I have 3 of these growing. You can see he's got some peppers for me so far coming already, and lots of flowers, lots of buds. Hopefully I can get to harvest off one of these 3 before I have to choose which ones aren't going to make it through the winter. Nice looking plant overall. Here's my other 7-pot Burgundy. I think it's doing a little bit better than the last one. If you look closely, you can see peppers coming in. Same thing, tons of buds, tons of flowers. Grow pepper, grow. Here's one of my overwintered Ghosts. Same thing, it's a slow starter it seems this year, but it is making peppers and it's going back inside for the winter, so no rush. Here's my peach habanero. It's not easy to see in there, but there's habaneros all throughout this plant. I'm gonna get a really nice harvest off this guy. Here's my King Star Lemon Starburst, one of 2 I have. Been really slow this year, a slow starter, but he's coming around. My peach habanero is kind of encroaching in on his space a bit. My APS orange jalapeno plant just keeps churning out fruit. Look at all the peppers on here for this little tiny plant. It's just covered in fruit. Looks really good. Here's my chocolate butler. I overwintered him. He's just producing small fruit though, but when you're making powder, I guess it doesn't really matter how big the fruit are. It all turns into the same thing. So here's my chocolate scorpion. And there's very little leaves on this plant, but it's absolutely covered in peppers. Got a couple there that are ripe, they're almost ready to be picked. But yeah, literally everywhere you look on this plant, it's all just peppers. Definitely making a case to spend the winter in my basement. Here's the other Carolina Reaper I'm growing. This one looks better, probably the better one of the two. Same thing, just pods everywhere, flowers. It's got peppers growing in different stages. You can see a couple hidden in the middle there. Here's my other overwintered Bootholokia. No peppers, no buds, very few buds I guess actually. No flowers. I don't know, these guys, they're temperamental sometimes. What I might just do is just cut all the leaves off except a few, restart them, see what he makes. Here's my other King Star Lemon Starburst. No peppers on it yet, but it is starting to flower and it's got a fair amount of buds on it, so I will eventually get peppers from it. Here's one of the Borg 9 I'm growing. Barely any buds, no flowers, but just huge leaves on them. He's just growing. So we'll see if he gets to spend the winter in the house or not. The plant is looking really good. I know once it does finish growing and starts producing, it's gonna probably produce me a ton of peppers, so it'll be hard to not let this guy spend the winter in the house. Crammed in here is my Scotch Bonnet MOA Yellow. As per normal, this thing is still just churning out hundreds of peppers all the time. Definitely won't be able to throw this guy away. He's got another good year or two of producing out of him. Here's one of the Rouge Black plants that I'm growing this year. And he's actually one of the bigger ones I've grown in the pail so far. He's really huge. And they got these really cool looking flowers on them. If you can see that. And they're this beautiful purplish color. What you get first is like the green pods. And when they ripen, they turn this kind of blackish color like that. You can see this guy here, he's almost ready. As far as a different colored plant, they're really pretty. Here's my 7-pot brain strain. Lots of buds. Starting to see the odd flower on it. No real peppers on it yet though. This is my Bootholokia Chocolate Giant. I think they were kind of lying when they came up with the name, because that's the giant peppers you get off it. This guy definitely won't be spending another winter in the basement. This is an interesting plant here. This is my Carolina Reaper Long Red. And it's starting to get some nice peppers on it, and it's got flowers all over it. Probably going to hold on to this one and just grow them out and see what you get. Kind of interesting to see a different kind of cross of the Reaper. And as always, here's my Bradley's Bahamian. Still churning out tons and tons of peppers. I can't keep up with harvest on this guy. He's just non-stop producing. Here's my 7-pot 7DX. And this plant's doing really, really good. Lots of flowers, lots of buds. As you can see, got lots of peppers coming. Without a doubt, I'll definitely get a good harvest off him, and he's making a strong case to survive the winter in the basement. The way he's producing right now, he looks really, really good. And he's even battling for space with the tomato plants, so you go, buddy. Here's another one of my Reaper plants. This guy's doing really well. Lots and lots of peppers. Nice size ones too. That's going to be a big one in there. Hopefully I'm drowning in Reapers this fall. Here's my Mad Balls Chocolate Cross Habanero. It's just starting to make some peppers. Lots of buds, lots of flowers. Plant looks good overall. Look at the size of these leaves. They're massive. Once these guys cover themselves with peppers, I'm going to give them a good trim in so they can focus their energy into the fruit versus the plant. This is one of my mystery peppers. This is actually the plant that I transplanted in the pail how-to video. It's looking like it's going to be a ghost, I'm guessing. Shape looks pretty reminiscent of a red ghost. There's a piece of fruit. There's a small fruit that's ripe. It's red. This is probably a Bootholokia, and it's doing really well. Here's my only Brazilian starfish, and it's doing really good. Look at these cool fruits. They're really awesome and funky looking. And this plant's covered in these guys. They look really good. Really pumped to try these out and see what they're like. Look at the size of these guys. Really big fruit. I hear these are really tasty. Pumped to try it out. This plant's definitely spending the winter in the house. Last but not least, here's the Swiss chocolate habanero. It's looking pretty good. Nice big plant, but just starting to bud. Do you see the odd flower on here? Here's one pepper. Just starting. There's another. Guess there's the odd one on this fella, but same thing. Everything is so slow this year. It's frustrating. Mahi Dolce Long Red are looking really good. I've already been pulling peppers off here, as well as the Ahi lemons and the Jimmy Nardellos. For cramming 6 plants into one little bucket, they're actually doing really well.